They're very, very wonderful talents, each one of them in their own rights. And each one has made a very big impact on the field of music and jazz. So I'd like to introduce tonight my co-host, Mr. Enrico Granafei. And if you think he's just a club owner, in his bio he puts first chromatic harmonica and guitar. And vocalist extraordinaire. And my name is Christine. Thank you. So we have 4 individuals tonight whom we are going to recognize for their accomplishments in the field of music, and in particular in jazz. And we are going to start with the ladies, because the ladies come first. So I first met Sheila Jordan a few years ago, several years ago, when we were running a jazz program in Italy, which is still going on, and Amy London's there now doing this. But Sheila came with us to teach music and teach voice to Italian singers, and singers not only from Italy, but from all over Europe, who would come and participate in the Veneto Jazz, and also in the, at one point, the Euromeet Jazz program, which was run by Mongo Normile and Bobby Villanueva. So Sheila is so expansive. She is such a wonderful, outgoing person. Her personality just draws in anyone whom she meets. When you speak to her, you feel as if you've known her for ages. She just makes everybody feel very, very welcome, and that's what she does with her music, because her music is spontaneous. It comes from her heart. It comes from her spirit. And she'll come into a room like she was here in Trumpets with the Royal Lobsters not too long ago, and she started improvising, and her lyrics, she's especially strong not only with her vocalise, but also with her lyrics. And she just invents and is creative on the spot. And one thing my husband said to me is, many years ago, he said, Sheila's voice is eternally young. Sheila's voice is so, she sounds like someone who's like 16 years old when she's on the phone. And she still, you can hear, like today I spoke with her on the phone. There it is, the phone, testing her out. And she is so, she has such a mellifluous voice and has such character to it and such beautiful tone and placement. So I just want to say a few things about Sheila, in case you don't know this. Sheila's name was really Sheila Jeanette Dawson, and she was born in Detroit, Michigan. And Sheila came from she was raised in a poor Pennsylvania coal mining country, and she began singing as a child. And by the time she was in her early teens, she was also working semi-professionally in clubs in Detroit. And her first great influence was Charlie Parker. And indeed, most of her influences have been instrumentalists rather than singers, and you can hear that in her music. She worked chiefly with black musicians in those days, and that meant disapproval from some of the white community, but she persisted in her career. And she was a member of a vocal trio called Skeeter, Mitch, and Jean. She was Jean, who sang versions of Parker's solos in a manner akin to that of the later Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. After moving to New York in the early 1950s, she married Charlie Parker's pianist, Duke Jordan. She studied with Lenny Tristano, but it was not until the early 60s that she made her first recordings, and one of these was under her own name, and the other was Outer View with George Russell, which featured a famous 10-minute version of You Are My Sunshine. In the mid-60s, her work encompassed jazz liturgies sung in churches and extensive club work, but her appeal was narrow even within the confines of jazz. By the late 70s, jazz audiences had begun to understand her uncompromising style a little more, and her popularity increased, as did her appearances on records, which included albums with Steve Kuhn, pianist, whose quartet she joined, and an album, Home, comprising a selection of Robert Creeley's poems set to music and arranged by Steve Swallow. 1983, she had a duo with bassist Harvey S., who was Harvey Swartz at the time, our friend. It was called Old Time Feeling, comprises several of the standards Jordan regularly features in her live repertoire. In 1990s, Lost and Found paid tribute to her bebop roots. Both sets display her unique musical trademarks, such as the frequent and unexpected sweeping changes of pitch, which still tend to confound an uninitiated audience. But you know the audiences here are all sophisticated. And they all understand you and get you. Yeah, you've trained us anyway, right? Her preference to the bass and voice set led to another remarkable collaboration with another friend of ours, bassist Cameron Brown, with whom she has been performing all over the world. She performed with him for over 10 years, and they've released live albums. I've grown accustomed to the bass and celebration. Entirely non-derivative, Jordan is one of only a tiny handful of jazz singers who fully deserve the appellation and for whom no other term will do. And we love Sheila Jordan. Sheila, we may not see you often, but your spirit is with us always. You are a great influence on the people who you meet, on your fans, and on the young singers of today. And so it is in that spirit that we award you now with a plaque, which is just a tiny little, it's a little token of our esteem for you and our appreciation for your talent. And it says, Sheila Jordan, singer and educator, in recognition of your extraordinary accomplishments and contributions to the tradition of jazz. Congratulations on your induction into the Trumpets Hall of Fame, October 29th, 2017.
Thank you.
Yes, you know what I'm going to ask each person to do? I'd like you to tell an anecdote from your life that really stands out in your life that helped you to become whom you are today. Rather than just an acceptance speech, tell us a story.
I'm not gonna give any speech because I don't know how. I'm not a good speech maker. I just want to thank you. I think this is incredible. I was supposed to get this many years ago, and I've never been around. But I remember the first time I saw it given was to the great Mark Murphy.
That's right.
And I was here that night with Jackie Kane, and we sat in the back there. There's nothing to say except a tremendous thank you. And thank you for reading my whatever. I'm still doing it. I'm going to be 89 in another 3 weeks. And never give up. I say this to everybody, whatever your dream is, no matter how old you are, never give up. Don't give up. I never gave up. Support it until it can support you. And it might never support you, but you don't give up something you love. So this is fantastic, and I thank you all very, very much. It's been a joy.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I thank you.